we read every single DC Rebirth #1 so you don't have to. What's up, comic geeks? Welcome back to the Script Heroes. Today we have a tier list ready for you where we are going to rank the first 14, I believe,
Yes, 15
DC
out of
Universe
20.
Rebirth books.
Phew.
Jay, do you want to run through the tiers for us?
Yes, okay, so for our tiers from worst to best, we have at the bottom, Look How They Massacred My Boy. Right above that, we have Crisis of Feelings. Then in the middle, leaning a little bit worse, we have That Sure Was a Comic. Above that, leaning a little bit better, we have Bagged and Boarded. Then in the second best position, we have Oracle Approved. And in the top tier, we have Blank Returns. So
Yes.
those are our tiers. We got 6 of them for you.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of books to go through. So let's just
Yes.
hop into it here. Jay, you're starting us
Let's
off
get into
with
it.
DC Universe Rebirth.
Yes. So Wally West is trapped out of time, and he's determined to bring a warning to New Earth. After the events of Flashpoint, something was stolen from history. Years, love, heroes, and Wally's the only one who remembers. He strikes in familiar places: the Batcave, Court Industries, Central City. He tries to use familiar faces: Johnny Quick, Nightwing, and even his beloved Linda as lightning rods to bring him back. But in the end, he resorts to a final appearance. Defeated, he appears to Barry Allen, his beloved uncle and mentor, to say a final goodbye. And in that final moment, perhaps the power of love, or maybe that same unconscious pull on the Speed Force that gave Wally his powers, Barry remembers, and he brings Wally home. What a nice...
I remember reading this when it came out and feeling very emotional because I just read Titan's Hunt, which is, a Titans book. It makes me choke up in a way that it's really supposed to. Like, come on, it's the reunification of our wonderful Flashes. It's such a heartfelt moment when Barry pulls Wally out of the Speed Force and they hug. And I'm such a sucker for mentor-mentee hugs in comics. Thank you, Tom Taylor, for the Bruce and Dick one. It's so fun. It's just so heartfelt. And it makes me actually jazzed about Doomsday Clock, which I never felt before. Which I know is not very good, but I'm about to be duped into reading it.
Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. Especially because, like, Titans ends up giving one explanation for things, then Doomsday Clock gives another one, and then we get another... Don't go down. The setup is much better than the payoff.
Which is a bummer, but this is just the setup, so I'm pretty thrilled with it. How'd you feel?
My feeling on this issue is I similarly love that moment to you. I like a lot of Wally's insight. That being said, this, I feel like, is a lot of space to, like, give that message that didn't need to be there. It feels a little bit stretched out to give us, like, a universe, rebirth book so that it can exist, Like, it's very much we can't move too much forward because we have the real books that come after this book, So it did its job pretty well, and I feel really good about it, but I can't put this in the top tier. I don't know how you feel. I'm feeling Oracle approved. This is really...
I was giving it a solid Bagged and Boarded.
Oh, really? I was going to go Oracle approved.
It was good. It was fun.
Okay. You were talking about getting so choked up and how it was making you want to read Doomsday Clock.
Do you have any idea how easily I cry over fiction? I'm going to cry right now just thinking about it.
I almost never cry. I would be willing to say, like, top of Bagged and Boarded is, like, a solid spot for it. I feel good about that, if you feel good about that.
Yeah, drag that puppy up there at the top of Bagged and Boarded.
The only thing in Bagged and Boarded right now, but it's the top of Bagged and Boarded.
It's the top of Bagged and Boarded.
Yeah. So, first book on the board, Katie, why don't you give us a summary of Aquaman Rebirth?
Yes, yeah. So we're running through alphabetically here. So
Yes,
in
yes.
Aquaman, the new Black Manta narrates the history of Arthur Curry as Aquaman himself deals with the Deluge, an Atlantean terrorist organization that has set its sights on Boston. The book offers a jumping on point for readers new to Aquaman, giving an abbreviated history of the character as well as his place in the surface world and Atlantis. He's painted in sort of a tragic light, not having a home amongst the air breathers or the water breathers, but standing strong as a guardian for both. After their proposal was highlighted in DC Universe Rebirth, it's no wonder Mara is so heavily featured in this issue, and Black Manta has painted a target on her back. Threats are brewing for the King of the Seas, and though he knows he has a great number of enemies, he doesn't know what's in store for him.
Thank you for that in depth summary.
I
But
can't help but write a lot.
yeah, no. It's just I feel like it has a similar like it gives off the vibe of the book very well, which is kind of long winded.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel about this issue. Not much actually happens. It's like the things that are setting up I'm excited about. I love Black Mana. I really love Black Mana. I think Black Mana is an awesome character. So I get excited at the end of this issue, but I don't get excited until the end of this issue. It does a good job of reestablishing Aquaman. A lot of these issues kind of have that little bit of because it was a jumping on point and this is when I jumped on a comic, so that was great for me at the time. But looking at it like on an objective point, there's a lot of retreading. I really don't like the way the action looks in this issue either.
Same.
Like it's very weird to me. It's a lot of like non-impactful, like oh, I'm about to get there, and then just after the moment's over. So it feels a little bit weird to me. I'm not the biggest fan of this issue, but how did you feel?
No, that's fair. I think kind of in a similar vein to the way that the action feels, it's all feels a little bit removed because you have this mysterious narrator doing all of the voiceover and stuff. We're getting such like an outside the tank understanding of Aquaman. And then it reveals that it's Black Adam and it's much cooler, but I feel like it was a real disservice to Arthur, especially after
Yeah,
reading a bunch of the other ones where people like are talking about their own stories. It's like, all right, we got this weird outsider view on Arthur that did kind of make him look like a bit of a loser. Um,
yeah.
like they bring up the fact that people make fun of him for talking to fish, and I'm like, you didn't need to bring that up. That was
There's a lot of
unnecessary.
just ripping on him and like ripping on him the way that me. It's like, oh, this is what people think of him, and he's a loser who speaks to fish, and you know, it's
Which I'm not
that,
gonna lie, I've never got as like I've never seen that in the comic book universe. Like I know that people do that in the real world. I
I
think
think that's what
in
it was like a
large
tongue
part
in
because
cheek
of the
thing for
fucking
that, you
Big
know.
Bang Theory. But my boy is fine in the real world. I like the idea of him not being accepted in either place, but you don't need to just be making fun of him, even if you
Yeah.
are Black Manta.
So what's your feeling here?
I mean, I'm between that sure was a comic and Crisis of
I'm
Feelings.
feeling crisis of feelings.
I'm feeling
Um,
Crisis of Feelings too. I think it
is
dropped
especially
down to
because
there
like,
because
I'm
of
looking
the
at all
art.
these in context to each other, not like
Hmm.
in like we're trying to tell people which of these are worth reading, and this one I'm leaning more towards not being. So I feel like
Agreed.
crisis of feelings is a good.
Yes.
Cool. Um, so we're locking in Aquaman Rebirth at Crisis of Feelings.
Yes.
But next up is Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. Batgirl seeks to reform the Birds of Prey with Black Canary after learning of some nefarious activities from another hacker using the name Oracle. But after Dinah agrees to help, they run into another vigilante who gets in their way, the Huntress. Helena Bertinelli is out of Spiral and out for blood. After the trio fight over what to do with a mobster, Huntress reveals that she knows both of the heroes' secret identities, and a mysterious force is lurking that knows them as well. I know you are a big Birds of Prey fan, Katie.
Which is
So tell me
why
how
I
you feel.
hate this issue. Like, not gonna bear the lead at all. Look at how they massacred my girls. Like, here's the thing. I did not like this art at all. I think the characterization of everyone is super weird. It all felt very cookie cutter and not in like a positive way, not in like a like we've talked about with Radiant Black. I was like, yeah, this feels like a regular old superhero story.
Yeah,
This feels
yeah,
cookie cutter in the way that it's like this could literally be any story. Why is this story? I hate it so much.
I really enjoyed this.
Oh no! Literally, when we were discussing what to name the tiers for this
This is
list,
what you were
I
thinking
said,
about?
look at what they did to my boy, literally thinking about this book.
Now, outside of Dinah,
Mhm,
I haven't engaged with these characters a ton, a decent amount of Babs. Really
mhm,
not any of Huntress. So I'm not going to speak too much to the characterization, but I felt like it was a pretty well built story. I felt like there was some good setup. The kind of like keys into what was happening were very interesting, and it got me kind of interested in what was to come. I liked, it does what a lot of them do with kind of the little bit of the origin recap, which is nice.
mhm.
I feel like it really doesn't overstay its welcome in this issue compared to some of
Agreed.
the other ones, which I really liked. And I liked kind of the track that Oracle was on, or that Babs was on, with like her Oracle moniker being like taken from her in the way that made her feel, and then reforming with Dinah, who has like that quick shift of like, I can't help. Okay, no, I get it. Oracle, that's your thing, and I'm here for you on that. Like that felt like a nice Bond moment. I liked that. I didn't think this was like a god tier issue, but I thought this was a really solid issue. Like I would have been in the upper tier of bagged and boarded. Like I feel similarly to this one about how I felt about DC Universe Rebirth.
Wacky. Yeah, Huntress was the
Make your
best
case though.
done
Make your
person.
case.
I think that Dinah was very personality-less. Like the moment of Dinah, I need your help. No, I'm not going to help you. It's personal. Okay, I'll help you. I love conceptually. I think it was executed so poorly, and then it kind of mimicked again with they had another moment later where Babs said something and Dinah refuted it, and Babs like, but this, and Dinah goes after it. I think it's what they're talking about, going to get the mobster. I felt like all the dialogue was bad. Like the recurring pepperoni joke doesn't feel very Dinah at all to me.
That one's fair. That one was definitely a little weird.
And I think that the opening series of captions where Babs is monologuing is the possibly like worst interior monologue that I've ever read. It felt like a parody. It literally felt like a
That
parody when she's like,
kind of felt
time is
exact.
fleeting, but I am on time, and time is my sidekick, but time is not a good sidekick. Good thing I don't need a sidekick. It was the worst thing I ever read.
Uh, I will. I propose the compromise that we throw this in. That sure was a comic.
We can throw it in that sure was a comic. But I would also like to posit as a final argument that the art was kind of ugly.
That's fair. I thought the faces looked really bad.
Right?
We can throw it in the top of Crisis of Feelings because the faces looked really weird.
Amazing. I was very disappointed in this book.
We have two. The funny thing is, before we move a little bit further, right now we have one in Bag of Wood and two in Crisis of Feelings. But I feel like my vibe of, and not to like get too, is that Rebirth is like one of the best periods of DC
Right?
Comics ever. So
The front
like,
end was not the best though.
we do get into some really good stuff
Oh
at
yeah.
some point here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll throw it to you for Batman.
Yeah, for Batman. So yeah, Batman Rebirth teases the start of Duke Thomas's career as the Signal, as well as a blossoming threat from the Calendar Man. Duke arrives at Wayne Manor, unsure of himself and the role he wants to play in the Bat family. He had been Robin during the We Are Robin and Batman and Robin Eternal storylines, but it's really time for him to evolve here. Bruce, however, is just confident as ever. He's embracing his own brand of insanity as he continues to defy what should be possible for him and becomes a better and better Batman with every fight. Calendar Man is sinister and foreboding in his final panels, and something seems to be afoot beneath the home of the Batman.
Okay. I'm not going to bury the lead here. That sure was a comic. It's a solid enough issue, but I feel like it's just riddled with filler, if you know what I mean. Like it doesn't really go anywhere. I feel like we get the little bit of Duke set up, which is nice and everything, but it just doesn't really feel like it goes anywhere. And I do want to also give the point of like this existing on that realm of just being a comic. Like this is the comic that everybody has like 3 copies of
Yeah,
somewhere because it just pops up everywhere. Like even if you never buy it, it ends up in your collection. Don't
right?
understand how, but it does.
What's weird
Uh,
is I have a strange variant cover of it that's actually the issue 9 cover on the Batman Rebirth 1 comic, and we can't figure out why. It was in like some Walmart grab bag at one point, apparently.
that's
Not
why I
how
have
I
so
got
many
it. I don't know how
of the
I got
book
it.
packs, you know, like, but with the main cover. But I have so many of those like Walmart packs because I was looking for some like other stuff, and it's just I own like 5 of these. But how do you feel about ranking it? To me,
I
it was a
liked it. I gave it an Oracle approved, personally.
really,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Uh,
I think at the
no,
time Detective Comics was the one that I was picking up. And that one was more of like the Bat family dynamic. Like that had a lot of Kate in it, that had a lot of Tim in it. And so it was kind of nice to be like, oh right, Batman was doing things at the same time. And like I really like this calendar man. At one point he molts and like climbs out of his own mouth and I
because
wanted
it's
to
like
puke
aging
in
the
the best way.
seasons. Yeah,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
I liked it quite a bit, but I'm also just a sucker for Batman.
yeah. No, I was not reading this at the time. Like I said, I have like 5 copies of this. This is the first time I've actually read it.
Mhm.
I read a bunch of things in Rebirth, but this was not one of them. Um, I, I cannot be swayed into giving this an Oracle approved. If you want to land in the middle at bagged and boarded, I don't think this is better than the DC Universe Rebirth book.
I am happy to land it in bagged and boarded
Okay,
and beneath
okay,
Rebirth as a whole.
okay, okay. Now we're doubling up. We've got 2 in bagged and boarded, 2 in Crisis of Feelings, but we get to go to Batman Beyond now.
We sure do. What a conspicuous way to say that.
Right? Batman Beyond Rebirth, whilst recapping the origin of the Batman of the future, Neo Gotham, we see Terry battle with the Joker gang throughout the city. Things take a turn for the worse when Terry's former love, Dana, is taken by the gang. Upon his attempt to rescue Dana, Terry finds himself defeated by a venomed up, familiar face, Carter Wilson, Terminal. In the final moments of the issue, Carter reveals to Dana the man actually leading the Joker gang. The Joker, who is somehow alive and on life support.
He sure is. I have basically zero context for Batman Beyond. I've seen the first like few episodes of the show a few times. I've been like, I'll try to get into it, but it's just never really stuck for me. But this is super rad. I liked this so much. I think that the world of Neo Gotham is so cool, and I think that Terry is like really badass and also very charming.
Best suit in
The
comics.
like right, and there's like a very nice poetic tie between him coming back from what they thought was the grave and the Joker being brought back from the grave. It's like that there is a parallel. Nice. The tone was a little odd to me. I think maybe because it's like somewhere between being like a kind of all ages book and a little edgier. It kind of fell in a strange spot for me with those two. But overall, I liked it a lot. This is both Katie and Oracle approved.
Very nice. I love this book. This is the first book that I read in the Rebirth. I remember going to the store and like looking up what new books came out and seeing that Batman Beyond, like a new Batman Beyond #1 came out that week and being so excited because of how much I love Batman Beyond. So I have so much
Adorable.
nostalgia for this series. So I can't be super objective here, but I do love it. I think you hit on a lot of the things that are great about this issue. It also, like, if you haven't seen the show, if you haven't read past Batman Beyond, you get that little recap, you know, that a
Mhm.
lot of these books do of like origin stuff. I love this. In my opinion, this is Batman Beyond Returns, but I will cede to you because I have a lot of nostalgia goggles on for this issue.
Perfect, perfect.
Uh,
So Oracle approved for Batman
Oracle
Beyond
proof for Batman
Rebirth.
Beyond Returns.
We can keep it
So,
towards the top end. I liked it quite a bit.
it's good.
It's
It's good
good.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good. Yeah.
But now it's my turn for nostalgia. I actually didn't read the Rebirth Batwoman, but Batwoman is one of my favorite characters. In Batwoman, Kate Kane is a lot like her cousin Bruce Wayne, in that she is defined by her trauma. This issue takes you with her as a kid, abducted by terrorists alongside her mother and sister, and she's the only one to make it out alive. We see her disgraced exit from West Point, the time she lost as she coped with losing her family by losing herself, and her donning the mantle of Batwoman so she can take herself back. We saw a little bit of her time with, I think this might have come out a bit after Detective Comics had relaunched under Rebirth, so I think it was a bit later. Because we see a bit of her time there, and we see her leave and now come back to Gotham with guns blazing, intriguing, exciting. Jay, how'd you feel?
I appreciate the bringing up. I always appreciate the bringing up to speed more in these issues when it's something that I haven't engaged with much,
Mm-hmm.
which Batwoman is a prime example of that. So I appreciate that. I thought it was interesting at points. I think the thing of it for me as a Rebirth #1, or like a Rebirth one
Yeah.
shot that goes into the series, it didn't really make me excited for what's to come. Like I didn't feel like there was good setup for
Ooh.
future issues. Um, so this one, I'm kind of between that sure was a comic and bagged and boarded. I thought this was solid. Like my idea of this was a solid issue.
I, with
I know you
love, gave it a sure was a comic.
okay,
Because,
okay,
like, it's a
cool.
lot of, like you're saying, there's not a lot of what is to come. Like, we have that last shot of her arriving in Gotham that I found very intriguing, but a lot of it is just Batwoman backstory. There you go.
Yes, fully agree. So we're gonna throw it in that sure was a comic.
Throw it in that sure was a comic, which is going to be our
That
first
sure was
for
a
that
comic.
sure was a comic.
We've filled up the middle areas. We have nothing in the top or bottom right now. So
Much to
very
my
interesting.
chagrin.
Yeah, yeah.
And yours,
So,
actually. We've both put
yeah,
them there, but we've mediated each other out. I guess
we
that
have
makes sense.
we have. That's the vibe here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay. So we're going into Blue Beetle now. I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
Jaime Reyes does not want to be a superhero. He makes that clear to Ted Kord multiple times, but the seasoned hero just won't listen. The issue starts off by introducing us to Jamie's friends Paco and Brenda, who seemingly cannot go 2 seconds without trying to kill each other. Jaime is then called away before school starts to attend a crisis. Blue Beetle battles two androids hired to kill him at a coffee shop. He holds his own thanks to no help from Ted Kord in his ear, until the pair quickly retreat upon finding out Blue Beetle is not alone. After the mission, Dr. Fate appears to Ted Kord, warning him that Jaime's power isn't alien, it's magic.
Yeah, we got a teaser of this in DC Universe Rebirth. We see
Yes.
Ted like glow when he's told that it's magic, and I'm like, that's my boy. I love Ted Cord. Um, yeah, I like this. I like this quite a bit. I think it was really charming, and it had a really good style in both the writing and the art that felt like nice and distinct and very kind of with a high schooler protagonist. It felt very on brand with that. And they did a good job of making Jaime's world feel very alive. And it is a good jumping on point. Like I know very little about
It's a
Blue
great
Beetle, but
jumping
I
off point.
feel pretty brought into the fold having read this. And I think that they do a good job of giving a kind of telegraph of what's to come. We have a very ominous enemy at the end, a spooky business lady. Uh, the only hang up I had with it was that I feel like because it's from Jaime's point of view and he is not a huge fan of Ted right now, a lot of Ted's charm fell super flat. But that's okay because I think that's probably something that develops.
Do you have a
Ooh,
recommended placing?
yeah, I threw that into bag and board it.
Okay. Okay. So here's my feeling on it. I agree with a lot of what you said, but I think the thing that really holds this book back for me is nobody except Jaime seems likable in the slightest. Like every other character just feels like the worst. Both of his friends are almost unbearable to read. Like they are so obnoxious. Um, I really enjoy like the when he actually gets into the Blue Beetle suit and he's fighting these two androids. It's awesome, but
Right?
the
I
rest
like
of the
that action a
issues,
lot.
yeah, the rest of the issues is a little rough. Like you said, Ted Cord comes across really weird in this issue. I also don't like the like it's a cool setup and it gets you like kind of engaged, but I don't like the idea of Jaime's Blue Beetle scare being magic. So that puts me off a little bit. I am willing to throw it in bagged and boarded. In my mind, it was probably going to be towards the bottom of bagged and boarded, or that shit was a comic.
Yeah, you can drop it in the bottom of bagged and boarded.
Okay, but
Speaking
yeah,
of bagged and Borged, Cyborg is
Borg
next.
did-
Borged
Borg did it.
We Borged it. A nanorobotic entity is attacking Star Labs, and the only hero up to stopping it is Cyborg. The half man, half machine superhero is knocked around by this bot, and even worse, it seems to be gathering all sorts of data from him. Victory's family history is woven throughout the issue, showing us the meeting of Silas and Eleanor, their love blooming and culminating in Victor's birth, and then the horror of Eleanor's diagnosis and death, and then Cyborg's transformation. He tracks the strange infiltrator of Star Labs to a hidden room and overrides its programming to take it down, but in doing so, he reveals his own source code hidden away in this room and his father's secret doubts about his son's remaining humanity. With all of cybernetic kind seeming to be the targets of a new threat, the pieces are really set up for a Cyborg solo series.
Man, this makes me more annoyed about current Titans.
Right?
God, Cyborg's such a cool character when
Mm-hmm.
done well. And man, this is a really good issue, in my opinion. I think this is
Mine
a
too.
great blend of setup, action, origin, like all of that is in this issue. And somehow it's balanced phenomenally. There's good relationship dynamics. It starts and ends on just like epic notes. I
Right?
loved this.
Me
Cyborg
too.
returns.
I also put it in Cyborg Returns, man. Yeah, it's
But
so rad. I feel like a lot of the kind of am I a man or machine we get from Cyborg is often like a very physical thing. Like, oh man, more of my body is robot. Oh no, I gotta push through because I can only give 100%.
yeah,
But seeing this like kind of question posited like, oh, is he just so advanced of a technology? Is he that advanced of an artificial intelligence that he thinks he's human? That
yeah,
is that was such a mind boggle to me. I love that so much. This is definitely one that I want to
got
read now.
deep in a Rebirth one shot. We got
Right?
deep in a Rebirth one shot.
Right?
This is exactly though like what we're talking about when like we talk about how good the Rebirth era was. Like just
Mm-hmm.
understanding of character, like the understanding of Cyborg in this issue is so ridiculously good.
And again, the innovation of him. Like with
Yeah,
Batman, we didn't see anything change with how he's presented. With Batwoman, we just saw her backstory again. This is like really cool Cyborg exploring something new for him.
yeah. Like I immediately want to just go and read like the first volume of this
Right?
series. I've not read it, but man, this makes you want to read it. So next up we have Deathstroke.
Mm-hmm.
Deathstroke isn't a very good father. We see the abuse he put his two sons through when they were younger, but now in the modern day, he's been contracted to kill an elderly Clock King. A seemingly simple enough mission, even with all of the political barriers he has to navigate. Clock King tries to convince Slade to give him more time and allow him to die on his own, but Slade doesn't budge, not even at the mention of his sons. That is, until Clock King mentions the term Kenilworth. This term completely turns Slade around, causing him to go back to the men he was supposed to kill for knowing of his job, and instead vow to protect them after installing a flimsy contract for a few bucks to keep his code. The issue ends with Slade rushing to Wintergreen, who has been expecting him.
Here's the thing. I liked what the story had going on. I liked the flashbacks. Slade is very badass, which you love to see. I didn't like this issue much at all. I thought that it had a lot of pieces that could have been cool, but one, the art was really not great in my opinion, and two, it just it didn't feel like the start of a series. You know, like I
That's
don't
fair.
really know Deathstroke's motivations here outside of like money. And it didn't make me feel excited to see where he's like going on a journey.
I'm gonna slight disagree. Just I thought this was solid because I like also like you. I like a lot of what's going on. I think the idea like between not knowing his motivations is like it's supposed to be this mystery of like what this term means and like what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So that intrigued me a little bit. I kind of do want to keep going to find out what that is, what's going on there. I thought the art was fine, fine. My main hang up with the execution was I thought the dialogue was like super on the nose all the time,
Yeah.
which felt a little off to me. I didn't love this. I didn't hate this. this was a comic to me. I don't know how it was to you.
I gave it a crisis of feelings. Um, I could be persuaded to go to the back end of Sherwood's comic though.
I'll let you do that. I'll let you pick this one. Top of Crisis or bottom of that sure was a comic.
I think because there were a few moments where I like actively detested the art, I'm gonna say top of Crisis.
Okay. Okay. So yet another book in Crisis of Feelings. I gotta. There we go.
Yeah, shuffle around.
Make sure the order is proper there, and we will segue into the Flash, which is up next.
Yes, yes. We love the Flash in general in this house. I say stalling as I pull up my summary. Directly tied to DC Universe Rebirth, The Flash gives us Barry's point of view as he starts to have strange visions of a history that doesn't belong to him. His remembered history is delivered through a familiar crime scene, a parallel to his mother's death, and his father reminds us of who Barry is at his core. When Barry finally catches up to Wally and frees him from the Speed Force, it offers more questions than answers, as the mystery of the button is set into motion in the Batcave.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is my moment where I was like, man, this is setting up something. Oh wait, yeah, it's Doomsday Clock. Oh shit. Um, no, I thought this was really good. It has a somewhat similar problem to DC Universe Rebirth, where like it just feels like but it doesn't. It's not as long, so it doesn't feel like it's
Mhm.
dragging it out as far, which I think makes this better than DC Universe Rebirth. But it feels like, it's kind of not that much progression, but it's really good introspection. I know you love good
Mhm.
introspection. I enjoyed the introspection here a lot, and I thought some of the pages were just really beautiful to look
Right?
at. So I really like this. In my opinion, this is Oracle approved.
I also think this is Oracle approved. The art specifically is like super duper my
Yes.
style. I love that type of art so much. And the reunion of Barry and Wally is really just as sweet the second time around. It also made me cry. But it feels like a good introduction to Barry's history and a really compelling start to the button. Um, it's a bummer that that ended up not being good.
Yeah.
But it's a good start to it. Good setup.
Yeah. Yeah. Oracle proved. I'm going to ask you, Katie, above or below Batman Beyond. I can't be objective about
I
Batman
I
Beyond.
will put it below Batman Beyond.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate your
I
commitment.
know I can't be objective about Batman Beyond, so I had to throw it to you on that one.
All right, next up is Green Arrow.
Yes. Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
sure are.
Let me get up the top. There we go. Oliver Queen is a strong personality, one that often rubs people the wrong way. And as it turns out, Black Canary is no different, or at least so she says. Green Arrow discovers Black Canary helping a young injured boy on the streets looking for his mother. Oliver takes the pair in, helping the boy to clean up. The pair then reunite him with his father before taking on a horde of the underground men and rescuing the boy's mother from the group. There is a tease of more to come with mysterious masked figures pulling the strings, and the issue ends with Oliver and Dinah sharing a nice and potentially romantic moment.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, when Wally says that Flashpoint and this 10-year gap robbed us of love, I think one of the easiest things to point to is Green Arrow and Black Canary. Uh, because come on, it's Green Arrow and Black Canary. They're in love. Uh, I really like the art of this, which boosts it absolutely. Some of the dialogue I thought was a little bit cringe. Uh,
Agreed.
and I don't really know how they characterized New 52 Ollie, but I think he was a good mix of charming and a little bit egotistical here. I think that they hit him pretty well. Yeah, it didn't make me like crazy hyped about picking up the rest of the series, especially because our Dawn of DC Green Arrow was so exciting for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. It was a good time.
Where are you? What's your vibe?
My pitch is for Bagged and Boarded.
Yeah. We have hit the next one that I read kind of back in Rebirth. I grabbed this one a little bit late to the party, but I was still reading it like as Rebirth books were coming. I think it says something that's probably the Rebirth series that I remember the least. Like I remember next to nothing from it, because it is kind of just it's solid. There's I think you hit on the art being really really good,
Mhm.
which is nice. And I like the Black Canary and Green Arrow dynamic that's set up, but
Right?
yeah, I don't think it goes beyond that. I think Bagged and Boarded is a good spot. I would throw it between Batman and DCU Rebirth, in my opinion. But how are you feeling?
I would drop it below Batman, but I support you. I support you.
Well, I'll let you have that. I'll let you have that.
What a generous co-host.
Right?
Uh, but yeah, now it is time for the Green Lanterns. Many of them.
Ass.
Yes, yes, because there are two. Uh, all right.
People called Green Lantern.
Yeah, there's so many now. Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz were both chosen to be Green Lanterns of Earth, but neither seem to know what to do with their power. When an order comes from their rings to report to a strange spacecraft, the two are put to the test for the first time together and fail miserably. Simon is an anger-prone hero wannabe, and Jessica barely has the willpower to leave her apartment. But with chaos in the Green Lantern Corps, Hal Jordan is left with no choice but to trust the two of them with the planet and the looming threat of the Red Lanterns.
I don't know if it's well documented enough on this podcast how much I hate Simon Baz, but I hate Simon Baz. Jessica Cruz, I enjoy her characterization a lot, but I don't like the theory of adding in more Green Lanterns. So
Mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to set the scene for here, and I've read this issue before, by the way, but what I'm trying to set the scene for it is that this issue has so much going for why I should hate it, but it's really good. Um, I think that Simon is well handled in the sense that when he's like annoying, he kind of gets his comeuppance for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the trope of new heroes are automatically better than the old heroes at it. It's the opposite. They are failing, they are stumbling. That's really nice. Hal Jordan comes across as such a cool, powerful Green Lantern here.
Right?
I really like Jessica's characterization. I like
Mm-hmm.
the use for anxiety as like this overcoming fear thing. I think it's a really cool use of like Green Lantern ideology. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
Manhunter in it, and I
Yeah.
love Manhunters.
Which
So
Simon Baz may or may not have known before Hal called it a manhunter.
yes, I'm gonna throw this in Oracle approved in my opinion. I think this is really really good, despite the fact that I don't really like these characters.
I love that for you. I thought it was fine. Like, it did a good job of introducing both of these characters to me, who has not really experienced either of the characters before. I really like Jessica. Simon, I was, The problem is that I don't like their dynamic together. Like, we get them together for, like, maybe the last third of the comic, and I don't like the way they interact, which is a bummer when it's a book about them interacting.
Yeah,
I gave it a sure was a comic, just because I wasn't particularly excited about anything going on in it. I like Jessica and didn't like most of the rest of it.
do you want to compromise on Bagged and Boarded then between us?
I am happy to compromise on Bagged and
Okay.
Boarded.
I think I'm gonna give you a little bit of comeuppance on the Batman thing. I'm just gonna slide this right above it.
All right, all right. But now it's Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps.
The next of the books that I was actually reading at the time, um, the Green Lantern Corps is missing, and it is up to Hal Jordan to find them. Sinestro and his Sinestro Corps are now the main law enforcement for the cosmos, and Hal is a fugitive after taking the fall for the entire Green Lantern Corps. Knowing that the temperamental Kroner's gauntlet is too unstable, Hal forges himself a new ring out of his own willpower before setting off to find the rest of the Green Lanterns.
I loved this. It was so dramatic. It
It
was
is.
so like moody. It gave you
I'm
the
sorry.
context of Hal from Hal's perspective. It had really badass visuals going on. It got me super excited about Hal Jordan as someone who doesn't normally like Hal Jordan. Like I
Wow.
and oh my gosh, it gave fantastic stakes with Sinestro being the sitting power in the universe. I like this so much. I think this is Hal Jordan Returns, baby.
This is wild to me because this is like the inverse thing where I love, and maybe it's because a lot of it's retreading for me. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
need all this. Like I'm like this is just a summary book. Like nothing especially because I love Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps is like one of my favorite books ever, and I
Mm-hmm.
forgot just how little happens of it in the first issue. I was like, we just like nothing happens. Like essentially, if you're looking like purely from like a story perspective, like Hal
Right.
forges a ring is like what happens in this issue. Um, so I still think it's really good. I'm not going to call this Hal Jordan Returns. There are much better Hal Jordan books out there, including
You
the
are
rest of
certainly
this
the
series.
authority on this one.
I actually I like the Green Lanterns book more as a one shot, despite liking these characters more. So this is going to be a bagged and boarded from me. I think it's good. It's just a ton of summary. I agree with you that the captions are really well done, but it's a lot of retreading ground instead of moving forward at all. Like we don't even get any of the Green Lantern. Like I feel like this issue would have been perfect if during Hal's speech we had a couple cutaways to where the Green Lantern Corps are.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, this takes place after Lost Army, Edge of Oblivion, but right after Lost Army. Like that's where they are. If
Mm-hmm.
I know you've read Lost Army,
I
so you have some
have.
of the context. I'm telling you that you have some of the context because I wasn't sure if you knew that.
I was a little confused as to why John or Guy was not helping out on Earth. So that does explain a little bit of it. Though I will point
Yeah.
out they do cut away to them when Hal is doing his big hammer swings. We see various people in their going ons. But I
I
hear
guess
that
I
it's
should say
nothing
a full
specific.
cutaway scenes to them, like seeing what they're doing, because that's how the book
Gotcha.
ends up going for a while, like into the series. For a while, it's a little bit before Hal meets up with them, and we kind of do parallel
Yeah.
storytelling of the two ends, and I feel like that could have started here, especially because that's what's in the series. I
Mm-hmm.
still like it. I'm happy to compromise to Oracle approved because it's a Green Lantern book,
Yeah,
so
let's split it on to Oracle approved.
above or below Flash, I'm giving you the call.
I'll put it below Flash.
Okay.
I think that I liked it from such
I'm
a
glad that you
visceral
like it
point
so
of
much,
view.
though, because maybe I can get you to
I
do
own
a
the
whole trade of
entirety of
Hal
Hal
Jordan.
Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps in
I
single issues. I just haven't
I
read
own
it.
all of the trades and half of it in single issues because I think I read half of it in single issues before I fell off reading comics at my comic store every week. So yeah, I own a decent chunk of it. But I should say I love the art. Whew,
The
so
art's
good,
so good. That's part of the reason that I liked it so much.
so good.
Like
But
so
yeah,
many just big panels of cool shit.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
absolutely. And that's all of Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. It's so good.
Hell
Anyway,
yeah. Speaking
final
of
issue,
art being a thing.
Hellblazer, and man, we're going into the last issue and nothing has landed in the bottom tier. Katie, let's go.
John Constantine is cursed, and he's tired of New York, so naturally he goes to London to conjure a demon. The con man has a trick or two up his sleeve, though, to free his soul from the curse and keep London from falling into hell. In a game of chicken that holds the fate of the entire city in the balance, Constantine is hedging his bets on a begrudging psychic. And with the threat of Swamp Thing, Wonder Woman, and Shazam nearby, it's lucky for the Hellblazer that things work out. But now that he's back in London, trouble is sure to follow.
I really didn't like this.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Look how they massacred my boy. We got here with the last issue. We had nothing in it. This was the issue I was thinking of when we were making this here.
I had not read this yet. The only notes that I left for myself on this was asterisks around puking noises.
Oh, that's mean, Katie. You called me mean for some of the things that I've said. Whew, that was just mean. That was
It
unnecessary.
sure was, but this was terrible. And,
I really don't like it on any level.
Yeah.
The art isn't good.
No.
It doesn't do anything. Wonder Woman what the hell?
It literally looks like someone just airbrushed over a tracing of something. It is rough. And Constantine's dialogue is also really not great.
No.
It is clearly trying to be disaffected cool guy, but it just sounds like someone trying to be that. And it ends with him being like, "Oh, hey reader, how's it going? What you thought I was gonna let London get taken to hell? Well, you'll have to see more of my adventures to know whether or not I would. Just kidding. You think I fucking care?" There were also a bunch of fucking bleeped out swear words that looked so lame on the page. Oh my gosh, everything was wrong with this book.
I fully agree. This is the definition of we read this so you don't have to.
Yeah.
halfway through this, I really would have stopped reading if it was not
Same.
for the podcast. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about it. Definitely not more positive to say about it. So I'm ready to move on. But I feel like the next thing we should do here is kind of just look at the way the tier list is now, and I think eventually we'll read out each tier and the order. But just say,
Yes.
like, is there any shifting you want to do around right now? Is there anything you want to bump up or down that's like on the edges? Do we maybe want to reorder anything within there? Is there anything that feels a little bit off about the tier list right now to you?
Let's see. I mean, I
Like, I'm
think
feeling
obviously
okay.
Hellblazer deserves its place in hell.
Yes,
Uh, I feel pretty good about Crisis of Feelings.
I
I
I
could be
I,
persuaded
I
to
feel
bump
like maybe
Aquaman
moving
up, but
Deathstroke up to that show as a comic. Like, that's one of the things. I'm also debating if we should move Blue Beetle down to that show as a comic. Like, those are
I
my
think you just want
couple.
a really nice bell curve.
Well, because that's what that's kind of my mindset, is if we're comparing them with each other, and this is
That's
where these
fair.
things
That is
fall.
fair.
Like, maybe,
I
you know.
am down for this as long as Deathstroke is at the bottom of that shirt was a comic.
Okay, so we'll move Blue Beetle to the top, Deathstroke to the bottom. Any other little bit of orienting you want to do here? Look at this perfect bell
Look
curve.
at this
Oh,
perfect curve. No, I am good to go, but we'll be adding 14 more to this tier list next month
yes.
when we
Do you
tackle
want to?
all of the Justice League and Justice League of America rebirths, Nightwing, Red Hood and the Outlaws, Suicide Squad, Supergirl, Superman, Teen Titans, Titans, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Do we want to quickly do a last readout, especially for our audio listeners here,
Yes.
of the tiers and the books in them? In blank, you know what? I'm just going to call the tier Cyborg Returns now, because he's the only book that got that honor. Cyborg is
Yes.
in Cyborg Returns at the very top of the tier list. In Oracle approved in order, we have Batman Beyond, Flash, and Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. In Bagged and Boarded, we have DC Universe, Rebirth, Green Lanterns, Batman, and Green Arrow.
In That Sure
In
Was
that
a Comic, we have Blue Beetle, Batwoman, and Deathstroke. In Crisis of Feelings, we've got Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, and Aquaman. And in Look How They Massacred My Boy, we have the Hellblazer.
Look How They Massacred Constantine. Um,
Constantine.
yeah, this is we're gonna just nice little download this so that we have it for their when I have to put this back together for the next one, and we're gonna add 14 more books onto this. But
Mm-hmm.
is there anything else we need to say for this episode? I think that's gonna bring us to a conclusion here.
Yeah, tune in on Wednesday for our regularly scheduled programming. And we'll see you next time. Comic
Comic
Geeks.
Geeks.